Hello and welcome back to FTL. Right, I'm gonna warn you in advance. This playthrough, I'm going to attempt, I'll probably fail, but I'm going to attempt to just roleplay the whole thing. So I will stay in character as, Starship Captain throughout the entire thing, and if I end up dropping into a Picard impression at some point, I apologise. So, we're going to choose our ship the exact same way we did last time. So I'm going to close my eyes, push this button 3 times, and then go over here. Sounded like a... yeah, that's the button, okay. And begin. Captain's log. The data we carry is vital to the remaining Federation fleet. We'll be needing supplies for the journey, so we must make sure to exploit each sector before moving on to the next. But we must reach the exit before the pursuing rebel fleet can catch us up. We have at our disposal a single burst laser Mark II, but we also have the extremely powerful artillery beam that is capable of piercing enemy shields in every hit. It takes an extended period to charge, 50 seconds, but that may well be the key to our victory. We detected numerous things from our initial jump location, including a distress signal and a store. And while we considered visiting the store immediately, it seemed more logical to make use of the areas before the rebel fleet could catch us. When we jumped, we arrived to find our screens alight with warnings, and the nearby pirates seemed to be advancing, using hacking tools. They have attempted to shut down our engines, but our crew managed to keep them barely operational, and we were forced to move into attack. Captain to all hands, we are engaged. Repeat, we are engaged. Weapons bay, I want the burst lasers charged and ready to fire. We have an incoming ion pulse and an incoming energy burst. Deactivate shields and let that ion burst through. With hindsight, that was not the wisest thing I could have done. Weapons, target the enemy weapons bay and fire. Excellent work, weapons. Alright then. With this burst, target the enemy shield generator. Let's take that out of the equation. Alright then. Target their bridge. Fire! Enemy ship is badly crippled, but they do not appear to be willing to surrender. And seem insistent on continuing to fight. Enemy ship has been destroyed. Excellent work, guns. With the pirate ship destroyed, our ship system was restored to normal functionality, and we salvaged what we could from the debris. Detecting a number of distress signals, I decided it was our duty to move into its help. We encountered a refugee ship drifting in space, and it looked like it was fleeing the rebel advance and ran out of fuel. Its distress beacon was active, but we were unsure if anyone was alive on board, and its communications appeared to be down. We boarded the ship and prepared to investigate. As we approached it, the other ship's transporters suddenly powered up, and our decks swarmed with now cannibalistic refugees. Driven mad by lack of food, they had turned onto feeding on each other, and now they attempted to feed on us. All hands to the shield bay. Let's get our NG some support. Okay, Reinhardt gets the med bay. You're not built for this kind of combat. Okay, get back in there. Let's get Fleshy out of there. I have never understood why he felt the need to have such a strange name, but I suppose that was the one he was born with. I ordered my crew to the med bay to heal up, while I ordered my pilot to return to the flight deck. As soon as the crew was fully healed, I ordered them all back to stations. While that distress signal had turned out to be a negative thing, I couldn't help but feel it was our duty to respond to those we could detect, so I set course for another. As soon as we arrived at the distress signal, shots were fired towards our ship, and we realized that we had fallen into a trap. Davian, man the weapons station. Get the burst lasers online and make your primary target their weapons bay. Brace for incoming missiles. We've taken a missile hit, but nothing too serious. Let's keep it moving. Divert power from the med bay to the engines. Oh dear. Our weapons bay just got taken out of the equation. Davian, I need that fire out. Approximately 25 more seconds to charge the... Oh good lord. This is problematic. The artillery beam should be sufficient to destroy the enemy ship, but until then we are vulnerable. Artillery beam, 10 more seconds. Enemy missiles incoming. We will... The enemy ship repeatedly hailed us, and it appeared they wanted to surrender. Given that we were in no fit state to continue the battle either, we decided it was best to accept their offer. We initiated repairs on all systems. And I ordered several members of my crew to report to the medbay in order to heal themselves. While that battle had not gone anywhere near as well as I might have hoped, it had still rewarded us with some scrap and a bit of fuel, and I decided it was time to set course for the store that we had detected before. A ship's engineer had set up a small shop, and I perused his wares, considering what best to buy. While I appreciated that a clone bay may well be extremely useful, it would also have been extremely useful to acquire a flak weapon. In the end, I was forced to make a decision, as we lacked sufficient scrap to choose, and I opted for the flak gun. It was a little more expensive, and would be some time before we could make use of it, but it seemed like the longer-term investment, though some part of me had a feeling that I would regret my decision. We detected a Federation encrypted signal being broadcast from a nearby planet, and I sent an away party to investigate. We found a secret outpost, but they were regrettably out of supplies, though they were eager to tell us of another secret base, and they gave us the coordinates. While we could have jumped straight there, I felt it was wiser to take a more circuitous route, so that any forces following us would not realize that we were jumping straight for a hidden base. By pure coincidence, we encountered a rebel scout on an attack approach to a small refueling outpost, and that while their weapons were charged, they hadn't fired yet. I decided it was our duty to intervene and defend the outpost. The rebels threatened us, saying, "I don't know who you are, but no one defies the rebel fleet," and they moved in to engage. All hands to battle stations. Enemy ship poses no threat to us. Repeat, enemy ship poses no threat to us. They have one single laser, it is not sufficient to damage our shields. Charge the burst laser. Target enemy shield generator. Clean hit. Would have preferred a triple, but the double was sufficient. Charge the burst laser. Target the shield generator again. Let's take it out of the equation completely. Fantastic work, guns. Alright, redirect fire to the enemy bridge. Based on enemy repair speed, estimate they have a repair drone operational. Target first laser on enemy shields. Fire. Fantastic work, guns. Enemy ship destroyed. The ship broke apart, and we quickly salvaged what we could. The outpost hailed us. The pompous bastards expected free service just because they defeated the Federation. Take this for your help. The scrap they offered was most definitely useful, and I began considering upgrades for the ship. In the end, I decided against it for the moment, because while we had the scrap to upgrade our shields to accept more power, we didn't have the scrap to upgrade the reactor to provide that power. I set course in the direction of our quest. We came across an automated repair station that was willing to offer us some repairs, and I figured it was wise to repair 10 damage. This got our hull back up to maximum, and it put us in good state for our future engagements. Again, rather than jumping straight to our objective, I decided to soak around a little. Unfortunately, we ended up jumping straight into the area around a nearby star. For some reason, there was an enemy ship that had decided this was a good place to stage an ambush, and we were forced into a conflict. The enemy pirate was well armed, but thankfully they were not using their weapons efficiently, and we were able to target their weapons bay and disable their weapons before they could do any real damage to us. Bridge to all hands, they're attempting escape. Repeat, they are attempting escape. Charge up burst lasers, target their engines. Guns, get me that shot. Thank you, guns. Door system, fire. We have a fire in the door system room. Davian, I need you down there now. Weapons systems to automatic. Target enemy bridge. Fire. The ship exploded, leaving behind a substantial collection of useful scrap material. Door system offline. Engines continuing to charge. I'd rather not hang around this star, so we're getting the heck out of here. We jumped straight towards the direction of our mission. By following the directions given to us, we were able to find a well-disguised outpost, and we were welcomed by a friendly face who offered to assist in our mission by joining our crew. He was another Engie, an expert in repairs, and while he had no specific skill or training, I felt it wise to assign him to the census station for the time being, while returning Davian to his position in the weapons bay. We headed straight towards the beacon that would allow us to exit this sector. As we arrived at the long-range jump beacon, we did a quick scan of the local planet and found the ruins of a recently destroyed Federation colony. There may well be a rebel ship in the vicinity, and we decided to go searching for it. It did not take us long to track it down, and we decided it was time to engage it in combat. All hands to battle stations. First laser, target enemy weapons bay and brace for incoming missiles. Minor damage to the hull, nothing serious. Enemy weapons disabled. Excellent work, guns. Redirect fire to enemy shield generator. Enemy shield generator has taken some damage, but I prefer to take it out completely. Fire. Enemy shields are completely offline. It's going to take them a while to repair and redirect fire to the weapons bay. They've just got their missile launcher back online, and I do not want them keeping that. Excellent work. They offered to surrender to us, and I found myself unwilling to kill them. They may be the enemy, but I will not compromise my principles by destroying a helpless ship. We had little time before the rebel fleet caught up with us, and I ordered an immediate jump to the next sector. We had a difficult decision to make, between an area controlled by the rebels and an area controlled by the Mantis. While the rebels were more overtly hostile to us, the Mantis would attack us, there was no question of that. And in the end I decided that I would rather engage rebel ships than those belonging to the Mantis. It's sad knowing that once this had been a most commonly travelled sector, and knowing that it was now swarming with rebels made me sick to my stomach. We had no specific choices when we jumped. Unsure of what exactly was there, we decided to make a blind jump. We found ourselves at a small planet with a few scattered settlements. There was a small rebel fleet in orbit, with many ships pattering back and forth, and it appeared to be a much more recently liberated planet. We decided it was unwise to hang around, and initiated a jump to an alternate star system. We ended up leaping straight into the middle of an asteroid field. This would be taxing to our shields, especially given that the enemy had a drone. I had a bad feeling about this battle, and knew that if we got unlucky, this could go very badly. I targeted... All hands, target enemy drone bay. We need that drone taken out. Not good. Very, very not good. Sensors damaged, but online. Weapon systems offline. Okay, weapon systems offline. Weapons restored. Begin charging burst lasers. We are taking fire. Repeat, we are taking fire. That is not good. The artillery beam is offline. Repeat, the artillery beam is offline. Alert our sensor officer to get the beam back online. Alright, enemy drone shut down. Target enemy shield generator. See how they like having to deal with these asteroids. Excellent work from our NG crew member has restored our artillery beam. However, our sensor station is now offline. Initiating repairs. Targeting enemy bridge. 2 misses, unfortunately. However, the enemy has now been destroyed by one of the asteroids of this field. Our battle was a little close, but we made it through all right. The ship exploded, once again leaving behind useful scrap material, and I ordered its collection. Then immediately ordered us just to jump to a nearby store that we had detected. We received a generic advertisement from a nearby public shipyard. It seemed that they were willing to work on any ship, not just those of the rebel hue. I spent some time browsing the stores, and then at the end decided it would be wise to acquire some long-range scanners. I also opted to repair our hull damage. I didn't buy any drones, nor anything else at the station, partially because it was expensive, and mostly because at the time we didn't really need it. Instead, I purchased additional upgrades for the shields, as while we did not have the power to run them at the time, we would hopefully in the near future. The long-range sensors provided us with information on the nearby systems, and we detected a number of ships in the vicinity. I decided to leap towards one of them, hoping that it would be friendly, but knowing that if it wasn't hostile, we could at least harvest it for scrap. As predicted, the enemy turned out to be hostile. The enemy ship... All hands, this is the captain. Enemy ship is well armed. Brace for incoming fire. Divert power from oxygen and med bay to the shields. Burst laser, target enemy weapons bay. Excellent work, guns. With that weapon disabled, we can afford to revert power to our O2 generators. Nobody's suffocating today if I can avoid it. Enemy shields have been disabled. Refocusing fire on their weapons bay. Let's prevent them from getting that chain laser online. Fantastic work, guns. Alright, they're continuing their repairs, but one good volley straight to the bridge will take them out. Fire! Fantastic work. The ship exploded, leaving behind a collection of useful material, including a fire suppression augment. While this augment could be potentially useful in some situations, I decided that I'd sell it as soon as possible. For I'd never really found them to be the most useful of additions. We encountered a small civilian ship that flew over as soon as we arrived. We were prepared to fight, but they informed us that they were out of fuel and couldn't jump. After some considerations, I decided that we had the fuel to spare, and I gave them it. In thanks, they gave us some extra scrap as payment. It wasn't much, but it was more than sufficient to allow us to upgrade our reactor, and allow our shields to be improved. I then decided on a jump towards another ship that we had detected. Once again, we encountered a rebel vessel, this one equipped with drones and missile launchers. The drone was not a threat, being a beam drone, specifically a fire beam drone. However, the missile launcher could be a problem, so I ordered all fire on the enemy weapons bay. Excellent work, guns. Weapons systems on the enemy ship are disabled. Let's follow that up by taking out their shields. Bridge took some fire, but we have caused a fire on the enemy ship. Excellent. Continue fire and re-aim for their weapons bay. Don't want that missile launcher getting a shot off. The enemy ship began powering its FTL drive, attempting to escape. However, it soon became clear that they would not have time to charge their drives before we could destroy them, and they offered to surrender. They offered us a substantial number of missiles and some scrap, and while I didn't have use for the missiles at the time, they could potentially be useful later, and I chose to accept their offer. I decided that rather than jumping towards a detected enemy ship, it would be wiser to avoid a fight if possible. However, by pure coincidence, we encountered another small rebel ship that had been refitted as a transport rather than built for combat. It didn't seem to want to engage us, but I demanded the surrender of their goods. They immediately began charging their jump drives to escape. Alright guns, I want their engine bay targeted. They've got a repair drone, so that means we're going to have problems keeping their systems disabled. But if we can keep them here long enough for the artillery beam to do some real harm, then we won't have an issue. Fortunately, there are repair drones already moving in. Redirect fire to their bridge. Excellent work, guns. Alright, shield generator to your next target. Fortunately, with that repair drone online, they're going to be able to run quickly. Target their engines. We may not be able to take them out before they can escape. They're going to run. The enemy ship successfully fled, and while disappointing that we had been unable to secure its cargo, I was at least grateful that we hadn't been forced to kill them. I headed directly for the exit to this sector, keen to get out of this enemy-held territory. We found a rebel ship patrolling the beacon, and immediately it turned to engage us, and as our crew scrambled to battle readiness, Sensor detected a short-range transporter signal. We had an intruder. A flushed and panicked rebel soldier had teleported on board, and the rebel, who appeared to be unarmed, repeatedly declared his peaceful intentions. Apparently the rebel life had lost its charm. I considered this. This could well be a trap, an attempt to sabotage us. But I choose to believe in the decency of people, and I accepted his offer. Unfortunately, when the rebel took his assigned station, he suddenly turned and attacked the nearest crew member. Reinhardt paid for my mistake with his life. Without much time to spare, I immediately reassigned Zemar to Reinhardt's former position in the shield bay. All hands, this is the captain. I appreciate the loss of Reinhardt's gonna hurt, but we still have a job to do. Enemy ship is not capable of defeating us in combat. Let's make them pay for what they've just done. Enemy ship has substantial defenses. Guns, you alright to fight? Good. Target their drone bay. Enemy drone bay has taken significant damage, and the defensive drone is offline. Redirect target shield bay. Artillery beam will be online soon. Approximately 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. The enemy ship attempted to power its FTL drive as soon as the artillery beam struck, but I knew it was too late for them. They offered the chance to surrender, and I seriously considered refusing them. But in the end, despite the trick they had played that had caused the death of one of my crew members, I couldn't bring myself to order their destruction. However, I did spend some scrap upgrading the weapons system. In future fights, if we could spare the power, we'd be able to bring the new flak cannon online. We set a course for the long-range jump beacon, and we mourned our friend. When we reached the jump beacon, we received a message from a small colony. They were asking us if we had any extra material, and if we could if they could work on our ship. We decided to inquire about their speciality, but in the end we had to turn them down because we lacked sufficient scrap to pay for them. I considered jumping backwards, but I felt that since we were about to enter the next sector, it was a bad move. In the end, I had a choice between NG-controlled territory and that controlled by pirates. In the end, I decided for the safer option, going through friendly NG-controlled space. As we arrived, we knew that the Mantis had been threatening them, but we hoped that we'd be able to stock up on scrap and fuel for the rest of our journey. There was only one jump beacon in our range, so we set course for that. At first, it appeared that we'd arrived in an empty system, but a ship appeared from behind the planet and hailed us, and declared themselves to be the dread pirate Tuco, and ordered us to prepare to die. All hands, the enemy has a mind control. I repeat, they have a mind control weapon. Guns, I want that thing taken out now, before our own crew member smashes our shield bay. Nicely done. Shields have taken some damage, but we are still able to fight. I'm going to divert power to the flat cannon. Let's get it online. Let's take out that bloody thing again. Good. Enemy mind control ray is offline. Hold on the flat cannon. Repeat, hold on the flat cannon. I want to wait until all weapons are charged. Fire flat cannon, target shields. Fire energy weapons, target mind control. The enemy appears to be trying to run. Enemy weapon systems are not that accurate. Targeting the bridge. Excellent hit. The enemy offered to surrender, and in the end, I decided to accept. While we still lacked sufficient power, I decided that if we had gained an additional increase in our reactor, I could afford to send my crew to the medbay temporarily to heal up. After I did that, I would disable the medbay for a time and allow our crew to allow our shields to be fully charged. Lacking the medbay could potentially be problematic, but I decided that at that moment the shields were more important. We detected a store, but there was no point going to it while we had almost no funds to spend. So I decided we would make one stop beforehand to hopefully acquire some scrap, and if not, we could at the very least sell that upgrade that we did not need. We found a small platform orbiting near the beacon, and it appeared to be a refueling station, and its cheery broadcasting of reasonable prices in a spectrum of frequency and languages. We decided to dock, and found unfortunately that it was a trap. As we hailed them, we found an explosion from inside our engine room, and while assessing the damage, we found a pirate ship closing fast. All hands, this is the captain. Engines are offline. However, it doesn't... Be advised, enemy has a dual burst laser. Repeat, a dual laser. This could cause our shields to go down, and we cannot dodge. Brace for incoming fire. Flat cannon, target enemy engine bay. Burst laser, target enemy weapons. Alright, the enemy ship's engines are as crippled as ours are. And we now have maneuvering power restored. Thank you, engineering. The enemy ship attempted to power its FTL drive and attempted to run. Fire lasers. Take out their shields. Looks like the enemy's only got 1 or 2 crew members and they're having to split to try and repair things to prevent them from charging their engines. The pirate eventually had the good sense to surrender, and I accepted their offer. Though we'd only gained a little scrap, I felt it was probably worth visiting the store just to see what they had. Though I knew I'd be frustrated if they had things that I wanted but couldn't afford. In the end, however, it turned out the only thing they had that I wanted was ruinously expensive anyway, and I would never have been able to afford it at this stage. I still decided to sell the fire suppression system, however, and use the funds to upgrade our ship. With our reactor increased in power, we were able to bring the medbay online, and I even decided that we could spare the expense for an additional reactor upgrade to bring our engines to full power. For the first time since beginning this mission, all our systems were now fully charged, and I set course towards the jump beacon out of this sector, hopeful. We discovered an energy colony hiding on one side of a nearby moon, and it appeared that they were excavating an equipment cache for the Federation Mantis War. They suggested it might be useful to lure the pursuing rebel fleet, and I decided that we should secure it. We acquired some minor scrap and a system repair drone, though since we lacked the drone control to use the drone, it would only be useful in future barter. Instead, I set course and initiated jump. We found a ship without life forms within a small dense asteroid field, giving off the distress call, and we decided to investigate. Unfortunately, pieces of the derelict ship coated with ice or crystal, and before we had a chance to dock, a few asteroids got past our shields and partially damaged our engines, and we were forced to pull out. I decided at this time that it was a good moment to take a break in the recording of my captain's log, and I hoped that whoever would hear this would continue it when I did.